Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Barbados' hosting of CariFesta 13 could spur the cultural industry's elevation to one of the country's primary economic drivers. That's the hope of Culture Minister Stephen Lashley. Now, he says a different model has been adopted for the staging of the major event this time around. Ken Gerson has that story.
As part of preparations to host CariFesta 13, Culture Minister Stephen Lashley and other key organizers toured several schools which will be used to host events. The tour ended at Christchurch Foundation, with the minister saying they wanted to see firsthand what upgrades are needed.
We felt the need to make certain improvements, both in relation to the stage, in relation to certain aspects of the external part of the hall, in relation to drainage and some of the bathrooms. Similar works will be undertaken at several other venues, including the Grant Lianas Memorial School. We also would have gone to Combermere as well. And we also went to the to St. Leonard's as well as Leicester Vaughan.
He says the opportunity to showcase Barbados' cultural offerings through CariFesta is really a chance to create a new frontier for economic expansion that would make the economy more resilient.
Having the focus, particularly on the Grand Market experience, where we propose to have the spotlight on our cultural goods and services. Several international buyers will be in Barbados exposing our cultural goods and services to the rest of the world.
The minister believes this provides a platform for Barbados and other participating countries to take their cultural industries to the global stage in a more significant way.
It is basically a multi-billion-dollar sector, and once we position ourselves properly, I believe that we can actually bring some of that money into Barbados, and what that will do is give us some of the solutions to some of the challenges, economic and otherwise, that we are faced now. So we are placing a lot of focus on this. I think it's a great turning point in terms of how we see ourselves, how we can actually translate our creativity into foreign direct inflows into the country.
Minister Lashley adds that this approach by Barbados is likely to be adopted for future CariFesta stagings. The cultural minister also says more updates on preparations will be forthcoming as the August 17th to 27th event draws nearer. Kent Gerson, CBC News.
Now, it takes about $500,000 to take care of one baby in the neonatal intensive care unit. A hefty price tag, according to head of pediatrics at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Dr. Clyde Cave, and one for which they welcome all the help they can get. Lisa Broom tells us more.
This $5,000 infusion pump, donated by the British Women's Club of Barbados, is a critical piece of equipment in the neonatal intensive care unit. It's part of a combination that's used to sustain the precious little ones who perhaps were so excited to see the world, they decided to make their appearances early. And while each of their lives is a blessing, Dr. Clyde Cave says arriving before the acceptable 35 weeks to 40 weeks as a full-term pregnancy is less than desirable.
A premature baby, the main thing is the lungs. If the lungs are not working, we have to do the work of breathing for them using a ventilator. And then if they're not digesting or swallowing, we have to feed them. And as they get more and more premature, more and more systems don't work. The kidneys may not be functioning efficiently. The brain is not functioning efficiently, so they don't remember to breathe. They don't remember to keep the heart going. So, yeah, lots of things are involved.
And that's where the vital equipment like the infusion pump comes in.
This allows control of the fluid which is delivered to small babies and children, and it's very critical that you can control the amount of fluid given, because you can cause complications like heart failure and other problems during treatment. So it's saline, which is salt water, or one fluid which has in other minerals for maintenance of life when the babies are unable to feed or to get antibiotic therapy.
Dr. Cave says the $5,000 pump is a mere drop in the bucket.
An incubator like this would be 40,000 Barbados dollars. The pump, which is one of the simplest kinds of pieces of equipment that we use that was donated today, that's about $5,000 each. Sometimes babies needs 3 or more to, if they're really sick, because a pump will do various drugs, 1 pump per medicine. They might need a ventilator, which is about 40,000 Barbados dollars. Various kinds of monitors, which are also $40,000.
But thanks to the Christmas craft fair put on last year by the British Women's Club, they were able to secure it. Head of publicity for the club, Caroline Gardner, says they take pleasure in donating hundreds of thousands of dollars in equipment to charitable organizations over the years. Lisa Broom, Cbc News.
Murders from domestic violence have declined, and the island's top cop says it's thanks to the work of the special unit within the force. He was speaking during the opening ceremony of the Black Rock Police Station Annex. Lisa Lord reports.
The newly outfitted Black Rock Police Station Annex will house the Truth Verification Unit and the Family Conflict Intervention Unit. Acting Commissioner Tyrone Griffith says the family unit, which was set up in June 2013, has already reaped success.
Over the years, we would have seen that our murder rate accounted for almost half of the murders were domestic in nature. And that, since the setting up of that unit, that has changed to almost one or almost two since 2013.
Regarding the Truth Verification Unit, Commissioner Griffith says it has stopped undesirables from entering the force.
We have used it as a recruitment tool. Additionally, we have used it as a placement tool in key areas of policing that are very important to what we do. We use it to determine whether or not those persons are suitable to be transferred to those departments. And finally, we use it also in investigations, an area that we need obviously to do more work in.
The Family Conflict Resolution Unit will be on the ground floor, while the Truth Verification Unit will be on the first floor. Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Attorney General, Diane Campbell, says the building is outfitted to achieve maximum results.
The building is equipped with such features as child-friendly and disabled-friendly interview rooms and sound-attenuated interview suites to assure maximum privacy for users. It has also been outfitted with state-of-the-art equipment. In addition, the building carries energy-efficient lighting and air conditioning, a solar-powered hot water system, as well as auxiliary water storage facilities.
The annex was outfitted at a cost of $2 million and was delivered on time and within budget.
There's an effort on to make Barbados produce the onions it needs. Officials of the Ministry of Agriculture say the island should be producing about 75% of its onions. To achieve this target, the ministry has started a trial to evaluate 6 varieties of onions from Guatemala and the Netherlands. The trial provided an opportunity to determine the performance of transplanted onions, catalog the prevalence of pests and diseases, measure yields, and establish farmers' and consumers' preferences. The ministry also hosted a field day at its Graham Hall Christchurch headquarters with several onion farmers. Deputy Chief Agriculture Officer Leslie Burton wants onion production brought back to its glory days.
So now we have a number of irrigation districts. I think there are about 14 irrigation districts and about 647 farmers, I believe they are now. And with those farmers into onion production and with the new varieties that we have, we know that we can reach a level where we can surpass more than 40,000 pounds per acre, right? And if we are able to do that, farmers would experience some benefit as well as Barbados.
Okay, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153# to sign up to Digicel today.
We hit the Burger King $12.50 2-piece snack box star. Wait a minute, boy. Welcome to Burger King. Please place your order.
I would like a 2-piece $12.50 snack box, please.
What flavor drink, sir?
Yeah, I get a drink too for my $12.50. 2 pieces of fresh, flavorful, crispy chicken, the best fries in BIM, and a drink for $12.50. I want to deserve a lyric freestyle. Lay me down, my dear girl, for the best tasting chicken at the best price in BIM. All day, every day, no what Burger King. That's the only place where taste is king. All day, every day, no what Burger King.
Burger King, where taste is king.
Hello friends, this is Jeff Shepard inviting you to join us every Thursday from 6 to 7 on QFM for Nichols Bacon Inc. Manor. Always fresh.
More teachers are getting appointed. That's the assurance from Minister of Education Ronald Jones, who puts the figure at about 300. He says a commitment was made to teachers and their representing unions.
I will be dealing with the Chief Education Officer on that shortly to ensure that those are in fact appointed. Those were part of the 7-something. I remember we did the first 400 or so, and then we had to wait for the Teachers Establishment Order to be passed. That was passed sometime last year. Went to the Governor General, gazetted. So the work, well, not the work, because the work was done one time for everybody in the system. So the letters of appointment will have to be issued from the Chief Personnel Officer's office.
The University of the West Indies will be collaborating with an international partner as it continues its quest to be innovative and globally competitive. UE and the University of Johannesburg in South Africa have signed a memorandum of understanding to establish a jointly managed institute for global African studies. It will see staff, students and knowledge moving between the two institutions. Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the Cave Hill campus, Professor Eugene Barreto, says the collaboration is critical for furthering Caribbean development.
For Caribbean young people, I think it is really very critical that they too understand that there is knowledge produced and there's a whole body of intellectual thought that can shape how Caribbean futures emerge. And it is not only a question of being African descended people, but that there are African knowledge systems that can guide Caribbean development.
Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Johannesburg, Professor Yvonne Rensburg, tells us about one of the first products of the collaboration.
The first important product we should have in the next few months, which is a joint master's degree in Global Africa Studies, which will really tackle some of these difficult questions that we just began to put at the surface of our conversation now. So a joint master's program, and presumably that will be followed by joint PhD programs.
As earthquake month and tsunami months comes to an end, children from 11 schools across the island will be getting training on how to keep themselves and their families safe in the event such a disaster comes to our shores. This week, a number of officials from Seismic Research Center and the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies will be carrying out sensitization workshops throughout the island. Speaking at a workshop for Coleridge and Parry's first form students, Aliyah Juman, a research assistant at the center, said a major part of the program is clearing up a number of common myths about tsunamis. This includes the misconception that there's no place to run when such disasters are imminent. During the week, the workshops will visit the Irvin Wilson School, Queen's College, Ann Hill, and All Saints schools, among others. If you want a truly artistic treat, you should visit the Gallery of Caribbean Art in Speightstown over the next month. It's housing the amazing work of American artist Hedy Kleinman. The solo exhibition, launched over the weekend, encompasses 3.5 decades of work. It is entitled Art and Spirit, a Barbados retrospective. The artist Hedy Kleinman spends much of her time here and considers herself part Barbadian.
I'm proud today to celebrate being a New York Bayesian or a Bayesian New Yorker, whichever you want to call it, because I'm celebrating today 30 plus years of painting in my studio in Barbados. And for me, that is a blessing.
Ms. Kleinman says her experiences come alive in her paintings.
This work represents all those years. It's pieces from very, very different, or I should say paintings from very, very different parts of the last 30 years. So you see a collection of my art.
The American artist is pleased with how art in Barbados has developed since she first visited.
What was in Space's shops, really, not even galleries, were posters. They weren't even prints, they were posters, but they were made by artists here, but they were just posters. And in the last 30 years, it's been so exciting to see all the creative art that's been here all these years, and now it's exposed. I love Barbadian artists, and they need to show their work in a much, much bigger and grander way.
And she suggests a way to do just that.
The Spirit Bond building in Bridgetown has got to be sold immediately to somebody who has a lot of money and produces a space for a museum or a gallery. I mean, that place is empty and it's had bits and pieces of things happening there, but it's a treasure. And if we want tourism, we need to develop all the treasures that are in Barbados.
The exhibition ends on April 20th. Well, after the break, we'll take a look at stories making headlines across our region.